right, guys, we are really 5, 6 practices in, and got some good fundamental work for a couple days. Got to watch a lot of our younger players develop, practice. Did really 4 practices that way, and then we've had 2 practices more kind of game week related, preparing for TCU, trying to put the guys in the right spots and get the healthy guys out there so we can prepare for this game. Obviously, when we get to the bowl, we'll have, I think, 3 practices to prepare there, and we've got 2 remaining here today and tomorrow before the kids get a little break. But we basically approached it like we're preparing for the game this week from a game planning standpoint, and then we'll repeat some of these practices when we get to the site over in Memphis. But the kids have really been excited. They've worked hard. We've worked really hard in the kicking game. We've done some extra work in the red area. Obviously, kind of a very different offense for us to play against in that they have 5 wide receivers on the field a lot of the game, sometimes 4 wide receivers. So it puts you in pass rush mode, but they have a very, very good back. They've got a very athletic defense who they can all run. They've got some speed on defense. So that's going to create some challenges for us, but we're excited for the opportunity. You know, their quarterback I've seen before, and I know him. He's a really good player. So with that, we'll open it up for questions.
How has the team's morale been boosted since the announcement of the 4 guys coming back?
Yeah, I think they were really excited. I thought that energized, especially the next practice from that standpoint. And each one of those guys is really practicing hard. They're committed to the future here. They're also wanting to send the seniors out the right way. And though they each spoke to that when they talked to the team, so it's been a good bonus, good emotional bonus.
Getting back to Hill, is there anybody or I guess any quarterbacks that you guys have faced that you feel like are applicable to what you're going to see with him?
Well, we've probably played some guys like him, but they weren't in the same kind of offense. You know, this is a drop back offense. It's not really a quarterback run offense. He can run, but they don't design a lot of quarterback runs for him. So a lot of the running quarterbacks we faced were designed quarterback runs. So I wouldn't say that anybody's. The difference is the scheme. The difference is the number of wide receivers on the field and the spread sets and the empty sets, which is kind of different for us because nobody in our league really plays that style anymore. I mean, the closest team to how they play is probably A&M, you know, who we don't play.
Kirby, following up the 4 players that are coming back, there's 2 high-profile running backs who decided not to play in bowl games. You probably heard the stories.
Yeah.
Do you have any opinion on the topic, and would you anticipate that this might become more commonplace in the future?
You know, I just read about it, Jeff. I just saw it, I guess yesterday. Was it yesterday the McCaffrey deal came out? And you know, we've been so busy with practice, I haven't thought much about it. Obviously, it's a concern in college football if that starts to happen. I certainly think that, you know, kids look at where am I predicted, what is the financial value, and also how important is this game? And that all goes back to your tie to your university. You know, how important is it to your teammates? How important is it to the development of your team? You know, some coaches would argue, does it matter that much? Because I'm trying to develop my team for the future, and that guy's not going to be there anyway. But you know, it goes back to what you're playing for. What's your purpose? Why are you playing? If you're playing for the love of the game and to help your team win, then you certainly should play in that game. If not, then maybe it's otherwise. And I know Leonard's a little different because his is an injury, so it has a lot to do with the injury.
Could you understand how a couple of kids might sort of think that way, that it's a
Well,
symbol
I mean, I think
of
it's each kid's individual responsibility to make that decision that only they can make. You know, I think that's up to them. I certainly think from a perspective of your teammates that they feel like that game's important enough to play in. But it is nowadays you have to be look at it from I guess a selfish perspective for the kid, because they've got to look at it and make a decision of this is about me, but this is also about the team and how it affects the team. And I think as long as they handle it the right way, have discussions with the team and consult with them, then they do what they do. I certainly think that could be a thing of the future where people bring it up. You know, what is the meaning of these games? I've told these kids about our game. Most important of this game, you remember the outcome. You know, you remember the outcome of the game. That's what I remember about the 4 bowl games, 3 bowl games I played in was the outcome. It wasn't where I went, where we went, what we did at night, what were the parties like, what was the practice like. All they cared about was who won the game. So that's the feature presentation for our kids in this one.
You talked about being careful not to take on the role as a recruiter when the guys were coming back.
Yeah.
I mean, could you see yourself? I mean, is that a situation where you as a coach, you've got a guy that may be thinking about doing something like that, bypassing a bowl? Would you kind of consider being the recruiter then? I mean, are you trying to talk to those guys?
Well, I still think that's their decision. That's their choice. I certainly think it doesn't show a great reflection to their team, to those team players and those guys. But that's their choice, just like the choice to come out would be, or to stay would be. So ultimately, they've got to be able to live with that decision and focus on it. You've also got to consider how the NFL looks at that too, because they have games every week, and they're going to look at it and say, okay, how does the NFL perceive this to be?
Kirby, we spoke to the four juniors that decided to come back last week. Have you had similar conversations with Tom Sanders, Aaron Davis, or any others that are looking at maybe moving on after the season?
Yeah, we've talked to those guys, and I think that each one of them come to the conclusion, come to the decision when it comes time. I think those four other guys just felt really comfortable with their decision, and they felt really good about it and were ready to come forward. Doesn't mean those other guys aren't. Just means they weren't ready to come out and do that. And I've had conversations with them since those four, so it's kind of a ever-evolving process.
Kirby, I know you're limited in what you can say about recruiting, but obviously there's stuff out there about Tim Carter. I wanted to give you a chance to respond to pulling of the offer apparently, and then what the brother said about you not calling personally to tell him about it.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm not allowed to talk about that situation at all. But I will say that my philosophy, our philosophy, has always been we're not going to drop kids in recruiting. Okay, we may defer enrollment. We may say you can enroll at a later date, but we're not going to drop kids in recruiting. Okay, and that's not what. Again, I can't comment on this situation. I can only comment on philosophically how we feel and how conversations happen. But I can't comment on his specific situation.
When you say defer enrollment, you talking about gray shirting?
No, I'm talking about defer enrollment from mid-year to February signing, coming in summer. Or if you're coming in the summer, deferring to gray shirt. Gray shirt would be the later. The first would be January, or when I say January, I mean signing in February.
You mentioned the practices here in Athens are about fundamentals and more time for the younger players. Some of those youngsters that have shown some good progress, in your opinion?
Yeah, we've had several guys go out and practice really well. I thought Holyfield's practiced well. He's given a lot of effort. Not to say with a bunch of guys out Cleveland. Ben's come out and done good. Chauncey Minnock, Prather Hudson, Will Urban. We give those guys a ton of reps every day in practice when they're getting ready for a game. They're usually scout team guys. So now the focus was put on them for them to get more reps. And plus they're not going 3s on 1s. They're going 3s on 3s. They're going on 2s on 2s, trying to get good on good reps. And it was good to watch those guys grow and get better. And, Miko and Tyreek showed some progress in the scrimmage work we had. Daquan's been a guy that we're trying to get back because he's really been gone so long that he's had to work himself back into shape, but he's done some good things. So I think when you look at all those guys, the work we've gotten has improved the bottom half of the team that's trying to get up to the top half. So all those guys get reps, and that's a big feature for us when we do bowl practices.
You said last week that you would get grades finalized on Monday. Any academic casualties you know of?
Yeah, we're still waiting on all those to come completely in and be finalized, but right now we don't have them.
Kirby, where are you all numbers-wise? Can you say what you're expecting to sign? And I mean, to my own, it seems like you guys are going to be close to 85 for next year. But that's something to watch.
Yeah, I think you're close to 85 every year, right?
Ideally.
Yeah, that's the plan, is to be close to 85. I mean, certainly to put a pinpoint on an exact number, I can't really do that because we're still waiting on 2 guys to make decisions on whether they're coming back or not. Academic casualties could occur between now and then, so I wouldn't say that you ever have an exact number until fall camp.
Do you know yet if Natras Patrick will be able to play in the bowl game?
Yeah, we're hopeful that he will. More hopeful than we have been in the past, but it's not definite. Basically, we're going to be able to do some more stuff with him in practice. So he'll still be in a black shirt just to protect him and the guys that come block him. But we think he's closer to being able to play. Reggie, we're still pushing through. Reggie Carter, that's one that's more in doubt probably than Natrez now.
What does Reggie have?
He got a knee, he hyperextended his knee and had a little problem with it, but he's missed a couple days practice. I think the last time y'all were out there, he may not have been out there. It may have been that day that he got injured.
Who are you guys I mean, I guess with those two guys in question, who's the guy that you have to kind of prime and get ready to step in that spot?
Yeah, Jawan Taylor and Tay Crowder are the two guys that have really been working there. You know, he's played this year, so it's a matter of getting him more reps. We've had to move some guys around from a standpoint of depth chart. You know, Rashad moved back to the defensive back. Well, now with the linebacker problem, he's kind of playing both. But to be honest with you, we don't have a lot of inside backers, especially if they're healthy.
Concerning that, a couple questions. One is Chooks a guy that's getting a look there, and secondly, I mean, you know, seeing as how Tay moved over mid-year, I know you don't like to speak too much on expectations and how well guys are doing, but I mean, has he kind of impressed you guys enough to that point, or you know, done well enough that you feel comfortable playing him at this point?
I don't know that we'd say be comfortable. I don't think he would say he's comfortable yet, because there's a lot to play in a defensive position that you've never played your entire life. But I'm very pleased with his progress. That doesn't mean he's ready to play in a game-like situation against a style of offense that we haven't seen all year. More or less, he hasn't even practiced against. So, you know, but to answer your question on Chooks, this is not the kind of game, you know, this is a spread type game. Chooks is going to have his value rushing the passer, doing some things on the edge, so it really doesn't benefit us from putting him in there. That's the one thing about it. The way you have to play these guys, you may only have one linebacker or two linebackers on the field. So we're not needing as many, but we're just really depleted in that area, and kind of have been for a couple weeks.
Kirby, big picture question on your first year as a head coach. In what ways do you think you've grown kind of, you know, on a game day and then, you know, running a program during these, 10, 11 months?
I would say the biggest thing with the running of the program and the kids is just being positive with those guys and reinforcing the positive, showing them good things they do on tape, and keep emphasizing that for them, especially when things get tough, you know, and guys don't have success. They need to see themselves doing it right as much as they do see themselves doing it incorrectly. As far as game day, I don't know that I can exactly say anything that's changed a great deal. I mean, pretty much the communication between the defensive staff, the special team staff, and the offensive staff goes on throughout the game, and that's been the case since day one. You know, decision making within the game, in-game adjustments, a lot of that stuff's been the same.
Back to their offense, how familiar are you with Sonny Cumbie and what he's been able to do there?
Well, unbelievable numbers. I mean, you look statistically, as a player, he was a really good player, and also as a coach. You know, they put up staggering numbers prior to this year, and then this year some of their numbers have curtailed a little bit, but they've also had injuries at some positions that are really critical. When you talk about the O-line and you talk about the quarterback not being able to play in every game, those are the games they probably struggled the most in, but does a really good job offensively, he and Coach Meacham.
Last question?
We got to talk to Riley and Isaac yesterday. What their development as receivers, tight end, obviously. What do you think this year?
As far as start to finish,
Yeah.
I think they both got a long way to go from where they've started, and I think they both would admit that they can grow and become much better players. As far as being freshmen and being productive, I think they were both productive as true freshmen. It helped the fact they were mid-year to grow and get better. But I think the sky's the limit when it comes to those two guys. They have to continue to get better, because what you see in college football is when you arrive, you go down. And when you keep trying to achieve and you stay humble and you keep working to what got you there, the same thing Isaac talked about, being deflated and being realizing that I'm in a world of speed and agility and everybody's as good as me, that they have to feel that way every year. They have to stay that same hunger to keep getting better. So I feel like if they continue to do that, good things can happen to them. But we as coaches have got to make sure they understand how much they can improve.